When the sun goes down and the highway stretches into endless black, when it's just you, your rig, and miles of empty road, that's when the real stories begin. Welcome to Echoes of Dread, where the asphalt holds secrets and every truck stop has a story to tell. I'm your host, Mike, and tonight we're riding shotgun with drivers who've seen things that'll make you think twice about taking that lonely stretch of interstate after dark. So grab your coffee, check your mirrors, and keep both hands on the wheel. Because once we roll out on this midnight journey, there's no turning back until we reach the end of the line. Let's ride.
Story 1. Eyes in the Rear View. You gotta understand something before I tell you this. I've been driving trucks for 23 years. Seen everything on these highways. Drunk idiots, crazy weather, dead animals. Hell, I've seen plenty of live ones too, if you catch my drift. But what happened 3 weeks ago on I-80? That shit changed me. Look, I'm not the type to make stuff up. Ask anyone at the Flying J in Council Bluffs. They'll tell you straight. Big Mike don't lie. Big Mike don't drink on the job, and Big Mike sure as hell don't see things that ain't there. Except maybe I did. It started normally enough. Tuesday night, around 11. I was hauling a load of furniture from Des Moines to Omaha. Nothing special, just another milk run to pay the bills. The radio was playing some old Skinnerd, and I had my thermos of gas station coffee keeping me company. That's when I saw him, standing under the flickering light at the on-ramp near Adel. Thumb out, duffel bag at his feet. Looked harmless enough, maybe 40, clean-shaven, wearing a decent jacket. Not like the usual meth heads you see hitching these days. Now, I don't normally pick up riders. Company policy says no, and my ex-wife always said I was too trusting for my own good. But something about this guy, I don't know. Maybe it was how he stood there, patient-like, not desperate or twitchy. So I pulled over. He climbed up into the cab with a grateful nod. "Much obliged," he said. His voice was soft, polite. "Name's Carl." "Mike," I told him. "Where you headed?" "West," he said, settling into the passenger seat. "As far as you'll take me." We started talking. Normal road conversation, weather, gas prices. He mentioned he was between jobs. Didn't say what kind of work. I didn't push. We've all been there. Carl had this way of listening, really listening. Asked about my route, how long I'd been driving, seemed genuinely interested when I told him about my daughter in Colorado. He even laughed at my stupid jokes about truck stop food. Good company, honestly. Better than driving alone with nothing but talk radio and my own thoughts. Around midnight, maybe a little after, Carl got quiet, leaned back in a seat and closed his eyes. "Mind if I catch some Z's?" he asked. "Been walking all day." "Go ahead," I said. "We got another 4 hours easy." He nodded and shifted against the window. Within minutes, his breathing got deep and steady, out like a light. That's when the weird shit started. Not right away, mind you. For the first hour or so, everything was normal. Carl slept, I drove, radio played some late-night country. Truck stops and farmhouses flickered past in the darkness. But somewhere around the Iowa-Nebraska border, something felt off. You know that feeling? When your brain picks up on something before you do? Like when you walk into your house and somehow know someone's been there, even though nothing looks different. I kept checking my mirrors. Habit, mostly. Left side, rear view, right side. Standard routine every trucker learns. That's when I saw them. Eyes. In my rearview mirror, I could see Carl's reflection. Still slumped against the window, but somehow his face was visible at an angle that shouldn't have been possible.
still in the same position.
But his eyes were wide open. Not drowsy or half awake. Wide fucking open. Staring straight ahead with this intensity that made my skin crawl. I blinked hard, rubbed my eyes, figured I was seeing things, too much caffeine, not enough sleep. But when I looked again, there they were. 2 pale circles in the darkness, reflecting the dashboard lights like a damn animal. "Carl?" I called softly. No response. His breathing stayed deep and steady, like he was still asleep. But those eyes didn't blink. Not once.
I kept driving, trying to convince myself I was imagining it. Stress, maybe? Or those energy drinks finally catching up to me. But every time I checked that rearview mirror, Carl's reflection was there, watching, always watching. And there was something else now, a faint smell creeping into the cab. Not body odor or anything normal, something metallic, not right. The worst part? They weren't looking straight ahead anymore. They were looking at me. In the reflection, I could see his head was still tilted against the window. His body hadn't moved an inch, but his eyes had shifted, tracking my movements like I was prey he was sizing up. The metallic smell got stronger. My hands started shaking on the steering wheel. "Hey, Carl," I said louder. "You awake over there?" Nothing. Just that steady breathing and those goddamn eyes boring into my soul through the mirror. I turned the radio up, told myself I was being stupid. People sleep with their eyes open sometimes, right? Medical condition or something. Hell, my Uncle Jerry used to do it. Scared the shit out of us kids, but it was harmless. Except Uncle Jerry's eyes weren't like this. Uncle Jerry's eyes were glassy, unfocused. Carl's eyes were sharp, alert, predatory, and they never, ever blinked. Miles crawled by like hours. Every time I glanced at that mirror, there they were, sometimes looking straight at my reflection, sometimes scanning the cab like they were memorizing every detail, the GPS, the CB radio, the toolbox behind my seat, the knife I kept clipped to my belt. That's when the real fear hit me. This wasn't some harmless drifter catching a ride. This was something else entirely, something that had been planning this from the moment he stepped into my truck.
I started thinking about all those true crime podcasts my daughter listens to. Stories about highway killers, predators who target long-haul drivers on remote stretches of road, how they study their victims, learn their routines, how they wait for the perfect moment to strike. The CB radio crackled with chatter from other drivers, but it sounded distant, muffled, like I was underwater or trapped in a bubble with this thing sitting 3 feet away from me. I thought about pulling over, making an excuse, getting him out of my cab. But what if that's what he was waiting for? What if stopping somewhere dark and empty was exactly what he wanted? So I keep driving, keep checking the mirror, keep watching those eyes watch me. Around 2 a.m., I saw the lights of Grand Island in the distance, a big truck stop, lots of people, even at night, security cameras, well-lit parking lot. Safety. "Carl," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I need to stop for fuel up ahead." The eyes in the rearview mirror didn't even twitch, still staring at me with that same intensity. But then I heard it. His voice, soft and polite as ever. "Sure thing." His lips never moved. I was watching his reflection the whole time, and his goddamn lips never moved. I pulled into the truck stop with shaking hands. Bright fluorescent lights flooded the cab, and I felt some of the tension leave my shoulders. People were walking around,
other drivers fueling up, a couple state troopers grabbing coffee. "This'll just take a minute," I said, shutting off the engine. "No rush," Carl replied. I looked over at him directly for the first time in hours. Eyes closed, his body relaxed against the window, breathing deep and steady, like he'd been asleep the whole damn time. But when I glanced at the rearview mirror one more time before getting out, those eyes were there, wide open, watching, waiting. I climbed down from the cab on legs that felt like jelly, filled up the tank, hands shaking as I worked the pump. It took maybe 10 minutes total. Then I walked into that truck stop and straight to the bathroom, where I splashed cold water on my face and tried to get my shit together. When I came back out, I stopped by the security office. I asked the manager if I could check the footage from the parking area. "Sure thing," he said, pulling up the feed on his monitor. "What are we looking for?" I watched myself pulling in 20 minutes earlier, watched myself get out and fuel up. But the passenger side of my cab was empty in every frame. No one got out. No one walked away.
Carl was never there. At least, not according to the cameras. I searched the parking lot anyway, asked the cashier if she'd seen anyone matching his description, even checked the restrooms in the driver's lounge. Nothing. But when I climbed back into my cab, that metallic smell was still there, stronger now, like old pennies and rust. Like he'd never existed at all. But I know what I saw. I know what happened in that cab during those hours of darkness on a lonely stretch of highway. And I know those eyes are still out there somewhere, watching some other driver in some other mirror, waiting for the perfect moment. You need to understand something. I don't pick up hitchhikers anymore. Haven't since that night. Won't ever again. Because sometimes the cargo you're carrying isn't goods. Sometimes it's something that's carrying you. And if you're driving alone at night and you see someone standing under a flickering light with their thumb out, keep driving. Don't look back. Don't stop. Because once those eyes lock onto yours in the mirror, they never really look away. Trust me on this one. I should know.
Story 2. The Last Ride. Have you ever been so tired you'd take a ride from the devil himself just to get off your feet? Yeah, well, maybe I did. Name's John. Used to be, anyway. Hard to explain what I mean by that, but stick with me. You'll understand soon enough. This happened 3 weeks ago. I was hitching from Phoenix to Denver. Don't ask why. Long story involving an ex-girlfriend and some bad decisions. Been walking for 3 days straight, sleeping in ditches, eating gas station burritos that tasted like shit. My feet were raw inside my boots, blisters on my blisters. Every step felt like walking on broken glass, and I was starting to see things that weren't there. Desert mirages, maybe? Or just my brain finally giving up.
That's when Big Sam found me. I was stumbling along some nowhere stretch of I-25, thumb out, more from habit than hope. Middle of the night, no moon, just endless black desert and the occasional semi blasting past like a rocket. Then I saw the headlights slowing down. Big rig, 18-wheeler with chrome that caught the starlight. Air brakes hissed as it pulled onto the shoulder, and for a second I just stood there. I couldn't believe my luck. The passenger door swung open and this voice called down, warm, friendly, like your favorite uncle. "Need a lift, son?" I looked up and saw Big Sam for the first time. Heavyset guy, maybe 50, trucker cap pulled low over kind eyes, big smile that seemed genuine. The cab was clean, well kept, smelled like coffee and pine air freshener. "Yes, sir," I said, climbing up. "Much obliged." "Where are you headed?" "Denver," I told him, settling into the passenger seat. It felt like sinking into a cloud after days on hard ground. "Perfect," Big Sam said, pulling back onto the highway. "I'm going that way myself." We started talking. Normal road conversation. He asked about my travels, where I was from, listened like he actually gave a damn, asked about family, told him about my mom back in Tucson, asked about my dreams, mentioned I was hoping to find work in construction up north. Good, honest work, he said, nodding approval. Man needs purpose. The cab was warm, the engine hummed like a lullaby. For the first time in days, I felt safe, protected. The passenger seat was more comfortable than it had any right to be. Soft leather that seemed to mold around my body, like it was made just for me. That's when I should have known better. About an hour in, I noticed Big Sam scratching at his forearm. Nothing dramatic, just absent-minded picking, like you do with a mosquito bite. But he kept doing it. Every few minutes, always the same spot. Bug bite? I asked. He glanced down, then back at the road. Something like that. The scratching got worse as we drove, more frequent, more urgent, like whatever was bothering him was getting agitated. I tried not to stare, but it was hard to ignore. Then I saw it. We hit a stretch of road construction, and the overhead lights lit up the cab harsh and bright. Big Sam was adjusting his grip on the wheel, and in that split second of harsh illumination, I swear I saw something move under the skin of his wrist. Not a vein, not muscle, something smooth, deliberate, like a snake sliding under wallpaper. I blinked hard, looked again. Nothing there but normal skin and the faded blue of an old tattoo. "You comfortable over there?" Big Sam asked, catching me staring. That same warm smile. "Yeah," I lied. "Just tired." But I wasn't tired anymore. Suddenly, I was wide awake and paying attention to things I'd missed before. Like how Big Sam never seemed to blink. Not properly, anyway. His eyelids would flutter, but never that slow, deliberate blink people do. Just these quick little twitches. Like how his smile was always the same width, same angle. Like it was painted on. Like how the radio had been playing the same song for the past hour, but the static never changed. Same lyrics, same instrumental bricks. Over and over. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice casual. "Could you drop me at the next truck stop? I need to stretch my legs." Big Sam chuckled. Warm, fatherly sound. "Not safe out here, son. Nothing but empty road for miles." I looked out the window. He was right. Just darkness and desert. But something felt wrong about that, too. We'd been driving for 2 hours and I hadn't seen a single road sign, not one. "Where exactly are we?" I asked. "Making good time," he said, which wasn't an answer at all. That's when I heard the click. Door locks. Solid, mechanical sounds in the quiet cab. "Just a safety precaution," Big Sam said, like he'd read my mind. "Wouldn't watch you falling out." My mouth went dry. My heart started hammering against my ribs like a caged bird. But I tried to stay calm, reasonable. Maybe I was just paranoid. Maybe the exhaustion was making me imagine things. "Really, though," I said, "I'd like to get out at the next stop." Another chuckle. "Relax, John. Enjoy the ride." The scratching got worse. He was clawing at his forearm now, leaving red marks. And in the dashboard lights, I could see something moving under his skin. Definitely moving. Like there was a whole ecosystem living just beneath the surface. "You okay?" I asked, pointing at his arm. He looked down, and for just a second, his smile flickered. "Gets itchy sometimes. The passengers." "Passengers?" The smile snapped back into place. Nothing to worry about. But I was worried as fuck, because the thing under his skin was getting more active. I could see ripples running up and down his forearm, little bumps pushing up from underneath, then disappearing. And the smell was starting to change. That pine air freshener was fading, replaced by something else. Something organic, like meat left too long in the sun. Miles crawled by. I kept asking to be let out. Big Sam kept deflecting with that same warm laugh. The locks stayed down. The radio kept looping that same song over and over, like we were stuck in some kind of bubble outside normal time. And outside, the world got stranger. The road stretched on forever with no curves, no hills, just straight black asphalt cutting through nothing. No cities on the horizon, no lights except our headlights carving through the dark. "How long till Denver?" I asked. "We'll get there when we get there," Big Sam said. His scratching had turned frantic now. Deep gouges in his skin that should have been bleeding but weren't, and the movement underneath was getting bolder. I could see distinct shapes sliding around under his flesh, multiple shapes. "What's under your skin?" I asked, past the point of being polite. Big Sam glanced over. His smile was still there, but his eyes had changed, gone cold, predatory. "That's how I keep company on the road," he said softly. "They talk to me, through here." He tapped his temple. "All my passengers, past, present, they share the journey, share the loneliness." I could hear them then, faint voices in the back of my head, dozens of them, whispering, crying, some laughing like they'd gone crazy. "Let me out," I said, but my voice sounded different, distant. "Can't do that, son. You're part of the family now." I grabbed the door handle, pulled hard. Nothing. The locks held firm, and there was no manual release I could find. That's when I felt it. A sharp pain in my back, right where I'd been leaning against that too comfortable seat, like a needle sliding between my ribs. The leather seat had opened up somehow, and something was pushing into my spine. "What?" I started, but the words got stuck, and something was crawling under my skin. I could feel it moving, sliding along my spine like a worm through mud, cold and smooth and fucked up in every possible way. "Don't fight it," Big Sam said, watching me arch against the seat. "Makes it worse." But I couldn't help it. The thing was burrowing deeper, spreading through my nervous system like poison. I could feel it reaching into my brain, wrapping around my thoughts, up my spine, into my skull, taking root. "What did you do to me?" I gasped. "Shared the load," he said. "One driver, lots of passengers. Everyone gets where they're going eventually." The cab started spinning, or maybe that was just me. The thing was spreading through my nervous system, and I could feel my thoughts getting fuzzy, like someone was turning down the volume on my consciousness. The last thing I remember clearly was Big Sam's voice, warm and fatherly. "Don't worry, John. You'll like it here. Plenty of good conversation." Then, everything went black. I don't know how long I was out. Could have been minutes, could have been hours. Time works differently when you're shared. When I came to, I was standing outside a gas station. But it wasn't me standing. Not exactly. I could see through my eyes, but I couldn't control what I was looking at. I couldn't move my hands or speak. I was a passenger in my own body now, and someone else was driving. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like angry insects. My body walked to the gas station's glass doors, and I saw the reflection. Same face, same clothes, but behind my eyes something else was looking out. Something that had learned to wear my expressions like a mask. And in the reflection of the parking lot, I could see Big Sam's truck pulling away into the darkness. Empty now, because Big Sam was inside me. I pressed my mental hands against the walls of my own skull, trying to regain control. But I was just another voice in the chorus now. Just another passenger Big Sam had collected over the years. That's when I understood. The truck was just transportation. Big Sam's real home was inside people like me. He'd jump from body to body, always looking for fresh hosts, always collecting new passengers to keep him company during the transfer. And now my body was walking back onto the highway, thumb out, waiting for the next trucker to pull over. Someone who'd see a harmless young guy who just needed a ride. Someone who'd never suspect that multiple passengers were already crammed into this one body. Me, Big Sam, and all the voices that came before. You need to understand something. I'm telling you this story during the few seconds when Big Sam lets me have control, when he's distracted by finding the next target. It won't last long. If you're ever driving at night and you see someone hitching, someone who looks tired and harmless and just needs help, keep driving. Because some passengers never get out. They just collect more company. The body I'm trapped in is walking toward another set of headlights right now, and I can feel Big Sam getting ready to put on his most grateful smile. Trust me on this one. I should know. I'm still in here. And soon, you might be too.
Story 3. Dead Air. You know what they say about CB radios? That they're just for lonely truckers talking shit to pass the time? Well, they're wrong about the lonely part, and they're wrong about what comes through sometimes. My name's Eddie. Been driving the big rigs for 15 years now, hauling freight from coast to coast, living out of truck stops and sleeping in my cab. It ain't glamorous, but it pays the bills and keeps me moving. Always moving. The CB radio was my lifeline out there. Channel 19 mostly. Drivers warning about smokies, road conditions, which truck stops had the best coffee. Normal shit. Background chatter to keep the silence from driving you crazy on those long stretches through nowhere. That was before I started picking up the dead. It happened 3 months ago. I was running a load of auto parts from Detroit to Phoenix, middle of the night, somewhere in Missouri. Empty highway, just me and the stars. Had the CB turned down low, barely audible over the engine noise. That's when I heard it. Voice came through the static, clear as if the guy was sitting right next to me. But something was strange about it. Too clear, too close. "I need to tell someone," the voice said. "About what I did." I keyed the mic. "Come back, driver. You got a copy?" Nothing, just static. Then the voice started again, like he hadn't heard me at all. "It was 3 years ago. Outside Tulsa. Kid on a bike, maybe 12 years old. I was tired, nodding off behind the wheel." The voice cracked. Didn't even see him till it was too late. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. This wasn't normal road chatter. "Hit him going 60. Launched him clean into a ditch." I stopped, got out, saw what I'd done. The voice was crying now. Real tears I could hear through the speaker. But nobody else was around. No witnesses. So I left him there. Drove away like nothing happened. "Jesus," I muttered. His name was Tommy Morrison. Lived on Elm Street. Had a dog named Rusty who waited by the road for 3 days before they found his body. The voice was fading, getting distant. "I'm sorry, Tommy. I'm so goddamn sorry." Then nothing. Just dead air and the hum of my engine. I tried raising the driver again, asked if anyone else had heard the transmission. Nobody answered. Channel 19 was quiet as a field mouse. Figured it was some drunk asshole messing around. Bad joke, but truckers aren't known for their sensitivity. I turned the radio off and tried to forget about it. Should have known better. 2 nights later, a different voice came through. Same channel. Same impossible clarity. "Name's Marcus Webb," the voice said without preamble. "I stole $200,000 from my brother's construction company, spent it on booze and whores while his kids went without Christmas presents. This time I didn't bother trying to respond, just listened. He trusted me, put me in charge of the books while he was in the hospital with cancer, and I robbed him blind." His voice was flat, like he was reading a grocery list. "Company went under. He lost his house. His wife left him." I could hear something in the background. Engine trouble, sputtering and coughing. I never told him it was me. Let him think it was bad luck, bad economy. The engine sounds got worse. He died thinking he was a failure. Died broke and alone because of what I... The transmission cut to a gasp. Sharp intake of breath. Then silence. I sat there for 10 minutes waiting for more. Nothing else came from him. But something else did. The temperature in my cab dropped about 20 degrees. No reason for it. The heater was running fine. Windows were up. But suddenly I could see my breath fogging in the air.
And it felt like I wasn't alone anymore. Can't explain it better than that. You know how you can tell when someone's watching you, even if you can't see them? It was like that, but worse. Like someone was sitting in my passenger seat, breathing down my neck. The feeling stayed with me for hours. Didn't fade until sunrise. That's when I started asking around. Truckers talk, you know? Spend enough time at the same truck stops, you hear stories. Gossip travels faster than freight on these highways. Tommy Morrison. Other drivers remembered hearing about it on their scanners. Kid killed in a hit and run outside Tulsa. The case went cold. Marcus Webb. Guys who ran the same routes knew him. Found dead in his cab after his heart gave out. Word was he'd been acting strange before it happened. Guilty about something. Both of them were real. Both of them were dead. And both of them were talking to me through my CB radio. I should have stopped listening. Should have thrown the damn thing out the window and driven in silence. But I couldn't. Something inside me needed to hear more. Like scratching a mosquito bite till it bleeds. The confessions kept coming. Every few nights, a new voice with a new story. Always the same pattern, clear transmission, impossible detail, and the sound of their final moments at the end. There was Ray, who confessed to burning down his neighbor's barn over a property dispute. Died when his own truck caught fire. Jennifer, who admitted to covering up a workplace accident that killed 2 men. Found at the bottom of a ravine after her rig went off the road.
Carlos, who told me about the bribes he took while working as a safety inspector, how his negligence led to a bridge collapse. Stroke took him while he was driving through the same area where the bridge used to be. All dead, all telling me their secrets from beyond the grave. And I started doing something about it. Don't ask me why. Maybe it was guilt by association. Maybe it was the way their voices sounded, so desperate, so full of pain. Or maybe it was that cold presence in my cab that never really went away, pushing me to act. I called in anonymous tips, sent letters to families, made sure the truth came out. Tommy Morrison's case got reopened when I provided details only the killer would know. The family finally got closure. Each time I helped, the confessions would stop for a while. Dead air on Channel 19. And that cold presence would ease up, like something had been satisfied. But it never lasted long. More voices kept coming through, more secrets from dead drivers who died with guilt eating them alive. And the confessions started getting worse. They weren't just asking for forgiveness anymore. They wanted revenge. Frank Kellerman was the first one to make demands. "I want you to find him," Frank's voice crackled through the radio. "Billy Henderson, lives in Bakersfield. He's the one who really killed that family in the car wreck, blamed it on me because I was drunk." I tried to ignore it, focused on the road,
turned up the music, but Frank kept talking.
30 years I've been dead, and that bastard's living free. Got rich off the insurance money from my truck. Built a whole goddamn trucking company on my grave. The temperature in my cab plummeted. My breath came out in white puffs. "You gonna make this right," Frank said, and his voice was different now, harder. "You gonna destroy him like he destroyed me." "I'm not doing that," I said out loud, feeling stupid for talking to a ghost. That's when the pain hit. It felt like someone grabbed my heart and squeezed, sharp, crushing agony. I had to pull over before I wrecked. "This is what dying feels like," Frank said, as I clutched my chest. "Heart attack at 52 because I couldn't live with what people thought I'd done. You want to feel this every day for the rest of your life?" The pain eased up when I agreed to look into Billy Henderson. That's how it started. The dead weren't content with confession anymore. They wanted justice. And if I didn't deliver, they'd make me suffer right along with them. The physical symptoms got worse with each transmission. After hearing from a driver who froze to death, I couldn't get warm for a week. My fingers turned blue, and I had to blast the heater constantly. When a ghost told me about dying in a truck fire, my skin started burning. No visible marks, but it felt like I was being cooked from the inside. The worst was Diane Walsh. She died from a stroke after confessing to switching medication at a nursing home where she worked part-time. Killed 3 patients with the wrong pills. I need you to find the families. Tell them what really happened. Make sure they sue the nursing home into the ground.
When I hesitated, the left side of my body went numb. I couldn't move my arm or leg, could barely speak. Lasted for 6 hours before I finally agreed to help. But help wasn't enough anymore. "Forget the families," Diane's voice came back, colder now. "I want you to burn the place down. Make them pay with more than money." "I won't hurt innocent people," I said. The numbness came back worse. This time it felt like my brain was shutting down. Words wouldn't come. Vision went blurry. "Then you'll die like I did," she said, slow and helpless, watching your body betray you. I started carrying a notebook, writing down everything they told me, all their demands, all their threats. The pages filled up fast. Most wanted me to ruin someone's life, expose affairs, plant evidence, destroy reputations. A few wanted actual violence, accidents that would look random. And if I refused, they'd torture me with echoes of their own deaths. The CB radio started acting up too, turning on by itself in the middle of the night, tuning to empty channels that somehow carried their voices anyway. The dial would spin on its own, searching for signals from the other side. Sometimes I'd hear multiple voices at once, overlapping confessions, creating a symphony of guilt and rage. The dead were getting impatient. That's when Frank came back, with the real offer. "You want this to stop?" His voice cut through the chaos one night. "There's a way." I was somewhere in Nevada, parked at a rest stop. Other drivers were sleeping in their cabs all around me, but I was alone with the voices. "I'm listening," I said. "Take it on yourself," Frank said. "All of it. Our sins, our guilt, our pain. Absorb it into your soul, and we can finally rest." "What's that mean?" "Means you become us. You carry what we carried. Live with what we lived with, but amplified. You take on a dozen lifetimes of regret." I could feel the other voices gathering, waiting for my answer. "And if I don't? Then we make your life hell until you do, or until you join us the hard way." The cold presence pressed closer. I could almost see him now, shapes in my peripheral vision, faces in the rearview mirror. "Choose," Frank said.
I thought about it for 3 days. Kept driving, kept listening to their demands. The physical symptoms got worse. I was dying slowly, feeling every death they'd experienced. Finally, I made my choice. All right, I said into the radio, I'll do it, but we start small. Frank's confession came through clearer than ever. The lie he'd told his dying son about staying clean when he'd really been high the whole time. The way his boy had looked at him with trust and love while Frank fed him bullshit about being a good father. I felt it settle into my chest like a weight. The guilt, the self-hatred, the crushing knowledge that you failed the one person who mattered most. It was mine now. Frank's voice faded away with one hell of a sigh of relief. One by one, I took them on. Marcus's shame about destroying his brother's life. Ray's fury at himself for letting jealousy turn him into an arsonist. Jennifer's horror at watching innocent men die for her negligence. Each confession felt like swallowing broken glass. My soul stretched to accommodate all that pain, all that regret. I could feel myself changing, getting hollow, like all the good parts of me were being burned away to make room for their darkness. But it worked. The voices stopped, the cold presence lifted. For the first time in months, I drove in silence. Should have known it wouldn't last. 3 weeks later, I was hauling a load through Texas when the CB crackled to life. Same channel, same impossible clarity. But this time, it was my own voice coming through the speaker. "My name's Eddie," the voice said, and it sounded like me, but distant, hollow. "And I need to confess something." I grabbed a mic, tried to respond, but my voice was already telling my story about the hit and run I'd caused when I was 20, the pedestrian I'd clipped and left bleeding in the street, the secret I'd carried for 15 years, the secret I'd never told anyone, not even the dead voices. I stopped to check on him, my voice continued, but he was already gone, so I drove away and pretended it never happened. I wasn't speaking, my mouth wasn't moving, but somehow my deepest shame was broadcasting itself to anyone listening on Channel 19. That's when I understood. The CB radio wasn't just picking up confessions from dead drivers. It was a conduit, a highway for secrets that stretched between this world and the next. And now I was part of it. Every night, my voice comes through that radio, telling my stories, my regrets, my sins, broadcasting them to whoever's listening. And sometimes, when I tune in, I hear other voices answering, live drivers hearing my confessions and starting to tell their own. The highway of secrets is getting crowded, more voices every night, more guilt looking for somewhere to go. And I'm the one feeding it, the one who opened the door between the living and the dead. You want to know the real horror? It's not the ghosts, it's not the confessions or the guilt or the physical pain. It's knowing that I'm the beacon now, the lighthouse for every secret shame driving the night roads. Every trucker with blood on his or her hands is going to hear my voice and think they found someone who understands, someone who can take away the pain. But I can't save them all. I can barely carry what I've got. And every new voice that comes through makes the load heavier. So if you're driving tonight, and you hear something strange on Channel 19, something that sounds like confession or desperation or souls crying out for peace, turn off your radio. Keep driving. Don't listen. Because once you hear the voices, they start listening for yours. And there's only so much room on this highway of lost souls. Trust me on this one. I should know. I'm the one collecting the tolls.
And that's where our headlights fade to black tonight, road warriors. If you've got your own highway horror story, something that happened in the cab of your rig or at a truck stop in the middle of nowhere, Drop it in the comments. The best ones might just make it into our next midnight run. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next delivery of terror from America's highways. We've got more stories coming, and some of them, well, let's just say they make tonight's tales look like bedtime stories. Share this with your fellow drivers, your dispatcher. Hell, share it with anyone brave enough to drive alone at night. Because the road is long, the night is dark, and sometimes, you need to know what's waiting out there in the distance. Until next time, keep your eyes on the road and your stories ready to tell. This is Mike from Echoes of Dread, and as always, if you whisper in the dark, I'll answer with dread.